So if special guests would like to go first, and then thank the either stay or
Do that, or do you want Kyle to go first and set the
the bar low? Was it solar over?
Mike, you want to go first, or you want to go last? No.
I don't care.
I mean, you shaved for us and everything, so I want to make sure we.
I'm fine going first. Here's the business. I mean, I got a quick.
Mike, you represent the children and teens.
Yeah. Something little follow along. So Dan, would you mind just giving us a brief heads up in terms of how you envision, are they going to present questions or sort of a flow of questions and presentation, or what are you envisioning?
The way this was originally thought of, I guess, is we allow 7-8 minutes for the team to present, and then allow time for questions. Afterwards, probably no more than 7 or 8 minutes, because we don't want to take up a lot of your time. You don't give them a final report. But at the same point, whoever's presenting, in this case Mike, if you want to take questions during, it's your time, or 10-15 minutes, or however you want to do it.
I guess my preference would be to breeze through the presentation real quick and open it up for questions.
We will hold questions until you're done.
Okay, very well, thank you. Good evening, everybody. My name is Mike Heidemann. I'm the leader of our Children's and Teens Subcommittee. So we've been meeting since January. We meet, I would say, on average once a month. Our team has been, as far as membership, a little back and forth. We've got 3 or 4 core members that have attended most every meeting, but we've lost some throughout the way for various reasons. But with that said, our first goal with our team was to define a hope and wholeness definition of what we think hope and wholeness means to children and teens. And essentially what that is, for children and teens to have hope, they need to feel safe and have basic needs met to envision their future. Family, sense of belonging, and a supportive community provide wholeness. So with this definition, it's kind of created the framework for us moving forward, and ultimately led us into our activities that we've been working on over the course of the last 8 months now. As part of that, we've done a number of interviews and researches. We've interviewed some members of various churches, community professionals, medical people, dental, social workers, school staff, a number of outside organizations, Reaching Up Ministries, Teens Encountering Christ, Kids in Kinship, 360 Communities, and the Burnsville Garage, to name a few. And what we're doing is we interview each one of these individuals, professionals, organizations, is we're essentially asking them, what are the top 3 things you consider relative to hope and wholeness as we've defined it to children? And our cumulative findings or summarizations of those responses from the various interviews are the 3 bullets on the interview findings and conclusions page. Essentially, teens, children, they need supportive relationships with parents, guardians, or other caring adults. They need positive peer connections, and they need opportunities to access and meet their basic needs such as food, clothing, housing, healthcare, etc. Through one of our missions, I neglected to say throughout this, is to find opportunities for us as a congregation, serving Christ, of course, to go out and fulfill some of this hope and wholeness for our community members, right? Those outside of our church. Our goal really to either look for opportunities for us to create programs or partner with existing programs out in the communities. And through the various organizations and research, we happened to come across a particular organization called Reaching Up Ministries that we're very, very excited about. Reaching Up Ministries is, just quickly, it's founded by this woman named Gia Brown, who first started her engagement providing homework help, recognizing that there was a big shortfall of kids' ability to complete homework and keep up with the average rate in school and whatnot. So she had started some work in Apple Valley, kind of a homegrown effort, if you will, community-based, pulling kids together, kids and parents, to do just that, right? Help them with their homework. during that process, she actually had some tumultuous times in her life that led her basically into a situation of poverty. Some very adamant personal things happening at home, divorce, etc. Essentially found herself in poverty with children. So through that, she started a nonprofit organization, Reaching Up Ministries. And that has evolved into a number of programs that she partners with 2 or 3 different churches in District 196 or in Apple Valley today. And first and foremost, the one thing we've been focused on is what they refer to as Summer Loaves. And Summer Loaves is a program where, due to kids' inability or challenges with summertime meals because of the fact that they're not in school, their parents are working, etc. And of course, they're used to getting lunches during the school year. She's started this program to where she provides school lunches to children in need within the community. And she does that through a distribution at a Berean Baptist Church and Christ Church, both of which I believe are in Apple Valley officially. A part of some of the other programs she incorporates into her ministry and her organization, homework help. During the school year, she has the name of the location escapes me, but again, it's another church in Apple Valley where they essentially once a week they bring in student volunteers to help any kids really that are in need of help with their homework. Part of both homework help and summer loaves, they typically have a community meal. With that, the idea is integration with families and the community in general, both volunteers, community. There's also vast opportunities for volunteering, right? Whether it's parents helping out in those times, whether it's teens helping with homework, volunteers from congregations or the community in general with the community meal. They also provide other learning opportunities. She often brings in the University of Minnesota Extension Services, for example, to talk about gardening, any financial programs, etc. She also provides English lessons on a weekly basis during the school year as part of homework help. She offers a number of these programs on the same night every week. What we found with this in socializing with other subcommittees is there's some potential overlap, right? We're talking about not only children here, but we're talking about children, families that are potentially in a situation poverty, right? Potential for some overlap with the senior subcommittees in that volunteering, the ability for seniors to potentially volunteer in this, feel some love, be in the community with children themselves. So I don't want to say that we necessarily have tunnel vision on Reaching Up Ministries right now, but we certainly focus a lot of effort and time with understanding their mission, what they have to, how we can potentially partner with them, learn from them, moving forward. So we've met with Gia Brown a number of times. I believe there was a meeting actually today with Pat Jarvie and Eric Elton. Gia's come and presented to our group. Various members of our subcommittee have attended Summer Loaves at Berean Baptist, so we've got a feel for what the program actually looks like. So again, I think again, not to say we have tunnel vision on Reaching Up Ministries, but they've got a proven program that's obviously helping people. They are serving currently 400 meals. They're servicing 400 children every week, providing them with meals throughout the week during the summer. So again, they've got a proven effective method in which they're reaching out and helping children in the community. So that's Reaching Up Ministries, again, a big focus of our current efforts. Our 2 to 3 year vision, if we were to go down, and I understand we've still got some time between now and the end of the year when we will make our recommendation to the board, if you will. but we're excited about homework help, right? We're excited about enabling kids, helping them with their schooling. Obviously, every bit of help they can get is going to better position them as they move forward in life and throughout their academic career. Peer connections involved, other teens, tutoring, helping children through homework help. I talked about meals, feeding children, right? We see some potential opportunities or needs for transportation, if you will, somehow reaching out to these kids, providing them transportation, whether it's bringing them in for homework help, summer loaves, what have you. And then we've also talked some about local mission trips, kind of equating to all of the above. Finally, on the last slide, last sheet, if you will, I just wanted to bring to your attention that we have been in contact with the Land and Building Subcommittee, kind of talking about what we foresee as our needs from a children, teens perspective. That being classroom space. We talk about community meals and whatnot, a kitchen and ability to serve food. We talk about a gym, right, and a potential leveraging existing space. I think we would all recognize and agree on things like Freestyle, for example, middle school ministries, the need to have a place for kids to let loose, if you will, and ideally, well, maybe not ideally, but there's potential for some, to utilize that space elsewhere, right? Example, an adaptable community room. Also worth noting that we wanted to bring your attention, we do have some staff liaisons that have been regular members of and provided regular attendance within our groups, that being Jason Cramey and Tim Balo. Again, just trying to make sure that our vision and our work has some kind of alignment or at least awareness with those on staff serving our children and teens. So that, from a high level, is what we've been working on for the last 8 months. Questions?
One question for you. You referenced transportation. Currently, that Reach administers the summer loaves. You say serves 400 kids?
It's 400 kids a week, lunches,
at
yes.
A couple different churches. How do those kids get to the church
Well, it varies from the different churches, Stan. At Christ Church in Egan, I believe that there's some coordinated transportation that brings kids in. There are parents that bring their kids there as well. There's much more of a community feel. I haven't attended activities at Christ Church yet, but my understanding that is community big time. People are coming in, they're socializing, they're enjoying the meal, the extracurricular programs. But to answer your question, those kids are arriving at Christ Church. Now, just last night I went to Berean Baptist, and I've been there twice. I was there the first night they spun that up. That's a new add-on to their programs in the summer loaves this year. They have kind of evolved over the fact to where their meals are being delivered. And what the meals consist of, basically it's a package for each child to get them through the week. There's 5 lunches in the box that they are delivering once a week. Yeah, exactly. What they found at Berean is very interesting, and how it's evolved is, for whatever reason, whether it's location or people had just become accustomed with the activities at Christ Church, they just didn't get the participation in terms of people coming to the church and to receive their meals. So now literally they've got an army of volunteers, and they're loading up their cars and delivering not only lunches, but they're still cooking food. They got a big kitchen there. We actually went and looked at the kitchen last night, they've got a part-time chef on staff, and they are actually cooking a meal and delivering a hot meal to the families along with the children, with the children's lunches.
So at Christ, they do a community meal and then they hand out the...
Yes, ma'am.
Very cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
If we partnered,
Who's coming, Eric?
Hi, Eric.
if we partnered with Reaching Up, are you envisioning it being a once a week, with possibly delivery of meals too, if people aren't coming to us, but or how, what would be the frequency?
I think, ultimately what we would want to do is somehow parallel her working model today. But she, in discussions with her, she is not committed or bent on any one protocol, right? She's adaptable. How would we envision that? We've been given, I think, fairly straight direction in that. This is not necessarily, our efforts are not necessarily, the goal of our efforts is not necessarily to bring people here, right? Our mission is to go out into the community or look for opportunities to go out into the community. So I think it's all open for discussion in terms of how that would work, whether or not we would model after what she does at these other churches, or whether we would do a similar model like Berean's currently doing in delivering meals. The problem that I personally see, and it's not necessarily a problem, but there's a couple different ways to spin it. When we're going out into the community, when we're delivering meals or they're delivering meals, we're kind of missing that community thing, right? The goal is the integration, the family, the opportunities for the kids, the peer relationships. And some of that I think is lacking if we're talking about any kind of a delivery method. So whether it's here, there, wherever, possibly partnering with a program at one of the existing churches, I do see value in bringing people together. So how do I envision that? Hard to say, more discussion to come.
Does Berean ever bring them in, or is Berean's model exclusively bring them in?
Berean's goal was to bring them in, but for whatever reason, when they started at Berean this summer, they just weren't getting the attendance. And it started out, and she still does this to this day, if they don't show up, she's got a list of people that are referred mostly by the school district in 196. She starts calling people, hey, are you coming? If not, we want to get you this food. We'll have it delivered if you're unable to get here. Of course, there's transportation challenges in many situations. So one other thing I've neglected to note relative to the potential, she is limited right now. Her activities are limited to District 196. She gets a lot of queries from people in District 191, but just due to her resources, her funding sources, what have you, her relationships within 196, she recognizes a big need to expand, but yet hasn't taken that step yet. She expanded this past year by offering services out of Berean Baptist. So again, as we kind of look at this, a lot of stars start to align in terms of our potential opportunities with the fact there's a need here in District 191. It's in our backyard. There's a lot of things that seem to make sense with respect to the potential partnering opportunities.
How long has she been up and running?
I think you're going to put me on the spot here. I want to say she's been doing this for 3 to 4 years, I believe. And that's mostly summer lows. Again, her homework help, how she first got started, that goes back much farther.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she sees the need, she steps up.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what her funding sources are? I mean,
She writes a lot of her own grants or requests a lot of her grants, Dan. Yeah, and she typically tries to stay out of any federal funding or whatnot. Too many stipulations with it, right? We do worth noting, a lot of these school districts, or even Burnsville, they offer free lunches during the summer, but you have to be there, right? So the kids got to get there, and it's not like they give them a week's worth of lunches. They have to come there every day, and again, stipulations around that, and because of that, again, and I think District 196 does the same thing, but for all of the reasons mentioned in the stipulations. She's obviously got a big audience and serving a lot of kids through her organization.
One thing, so this Giovanna, I talked to her, she's amazing.
Yeah, she is.
The hard part is she is a one single woman trying to do it all. I mean, is she getting other partners and kind of having them alongside of her, or is she still one person doing it all? And at what point, if something happens to her, what happens to reaching out ministry?
Yeah, that's certainly a concern and potential risk that we've identified. It's not just, she's got one other person, a good friend. I believe it's just a good friend, Jennifer, but I think Jennifer has been with her throughout her journey. she's obviously very, very good at organizing volunteers. She's got a big community, her research groups, her funding abilities, very good at that. But to your point, yeah, that's a concern. What happens if, you know?
When I met with Gia, that's the problem that I raised, that's the problem that I saw. Gia is asking for help to create a board that will actually manage this ministry and be the kind of organizational structure that's not her gift set, it's not her passion. She's passionate about getting stuff to kids, but she knows that to really thrive and expand as she wants to, she needs an infrastructure. So they meet up at Easter Lutheran, that's where they're housed right now. And so I met with Chris Capel, their senior pastor, and Gia, and we had a conversation, how do we help you to be structured in a way that's going to be scalable? And she's wide open to that and anxious for it. But at the moment, it is pretty much her show.
Does she have anyone else helping her with the grants, or is she still doing that by herself?
I think she's had a couple of people who have been willing to step in and help, but again, she needs a working board to bring that skill set around. Can you comment a little bit on, there's an interesting document you've got on Basecamp, the mobile church, and ideas on how to get out healthcare to the people, education to the people, and you touched briefly on this kind of green model that they're bringing.
Mhm.
I was somewhat anticipating maybe a recommendation or two coming, or is a possible recommendation that would involve sort of a more attention sort of focus on moving out. Have you decided maybe that's not necessarily direction, or maybe just comment on that document and how, if you had to make a recommendation tonight, would it be primarily finding some way to partner with reaching out, or would it also entail finding other ways to either be a mobile church or some other recommendations? Or is that too loaded?
Pastor Jeff, you said there's going to be a stopwatch here tonight. Okay, maybe we start at the end and work my way backwards as best as I can. If I were to make a recommendation today, in terms of what we would do, partnering with Reaching Up Ministries, again, I think our group is very. We like the idea of community, right, and the overlaps within it. So. Yeah, we want to be mobile. We want to go out and meet these people where they are. We don't necessarily feel it beneficial to put a big evangelist spin on this, right, for fear of turning people away. So potentially it's Kyle, right? I'm sorry. Potentially a hybrid model. A recommendation today, if I were to be put on the spot, again, just due to the community, the overlap, family integration, I guess my preference would be to bring people to a location.
Gia would say that it's not her preference at all to take meals to people's homes. That's a last resort. Her whole thing is predicated upon building relationships. In fact, if I heard her right, what she said is she thinks one of the reasons that kids aren't coming to certain sites is because relationships weren't built. It's just about giving people food. And from her experience with kids and families, if the relationships aren't built, the food's a stopgap, but it's really not taking them where they need to be. And so if we wanted to consider a model of not always doing it on our campus in a centralized way, we could think of a model of adopt an apartment complex or two, hold it there where they are, or build community in that place, as opposed to going to somebody's door, handing it off, and doing things and see it nearby, no relationship built. So there may be some hybrid in there, but she's adamant about, this is about meeting people where they are relationally.
Gosh.
And it's the consistency of the relationships that she believes will help these kids really move forward.
That's almost opposite of what Brain is doing then, it's very deep, pulling people, saying, oh, you can't come, only bring you the food. But then that's gonna just almost stop the relationship completely.
It's not what they wanted. They wanted it to be the issue of people coming on campus. You could ask Gia why she doesn't think that worked out. But what was happening is kids weren't coming and all this food was there. And they were just going to use it
children?
Well, when we talk about providing meals to kids when they're not in school, right? What led us to this as children and teens, and what we discovered, there's potential hooks into poverty, right? So when we talk about providing meals to children during the school year, well, I'm sorry, during the summer when they're not able to get lunches from school, certainly that's child focused. When we talk about the potential to grow into homework help, and family integration, I think it's all about the kids, building up those kids, those peer relationships with children, showing them love, adult mentorship, and hopefully increasing their time available with families and family exposure.
Right, but not just to the people in poverty, but all
Yeah.
There's kids
Well.
that are coming from multi-families that are having.
Yeah, well, exactly. So look at the potential for teens to volunteer. I think, as I understand Jason and company, they struggle with volunteer opportunities for teens from our congregation. So there's that hook into it whether it's teens volunteering for homework help or summer loaves or whatnot. So it touches, the goal is, or our idea is, that it touches more than just children in poverty. Right, there's potential volunteering opportunities, peer connections, those types of things.
And this would integrate with our children that are administrative teachers.
Potentially, yeah, that's certainly,
Because we kind of talked about who we're serving, not integration.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Great.
Mike, I appreciate all the work you've done, your team's done. I think we owe it to you if we have other questions and thoughts to go on to, maybe we'll figure out how to centralize those, give it to you once, you're not bombarded with,
Yeah,
the same question
sure.
from 4 different people and those kind of things. And then also what we're kind of looking for as we kind of hear and we develop what we're looking for in the final report. We make sure we get that.
Additional feedback, comments, questions is more than welcome. So,
Very much appreciate
yeah,
it.
well, thank you very much for the time and the opportunity.
Since the food place was late making food,
Really?
um,
I was ready for the attack.
I said it. Is that why you
sat over there?
3
No,
minutes?
I just sit next to him and he's like, you may not want us to hear that. And I'm like,
She got
I'm
moved.
moving by Kyle.
We'll take, he's gonna be nice. We'll take 3 minutes.
Thanks,
If
sir.
anybody